on? Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mix It Up podcast. I'm Mike. That's Nick. And Nick, we got another special guest. It's not Eugene. We got an actual special guest this week. Who is it? It looks like you.
It's my brother, Ed.
It's always a privilege to hang out with you guys, whether it's virtual or not. Thank you.
Damn right.
I think that's a lie. I think that's a lie. It doesn't like to go to,
He's
It
talking
doesn't
about
like-
me, Nick. Not with you, man.
I'm sure it doesn't like sitting down with us at a nice steakhouse in Atlantic.
I don't even if it's in a shitty steakhouse in Atlantic City facing the Mexican guys washing the dishes. I don't mind hanging out with you guys.
I've done that plenty of times.
You know you have. All right. Well, we don't have Eugene today.
Oh.
He's a little under the weather.
Poor
So,
guy.
hopefully this doesn't hurt our ratings because they've gone through the roof since Eugene's been on. So,
Yes, this works tonight.
yeah.
Poor bastard.
Yep. All right. Well, let's go through these topics today, and then we'll let our special guest decide which one we'll talk about first, shall we?
How it works. All right.
You got the pick.
So, yeah. So we're gonna just talk. We're gonna maybe keep it a little bit more lighthearted than usual today, but probably not. So we're gonna talk about cold calling sales calls, which we all get every day, spam bullshit. Ads popping up on your computer or on your phone from either talking about shit or sometimes even thinking about it, which is insane. Bruce Lee, but not really about Bruce Lee. We'll circle back to Bruce Lee. Cancel culture.
That's the loaded topic.
That's the one with John Gruden.
Cancel
Right?
culture. John Gruden.
Well, we
Dave Chappelle.
gotta let the special guest pick, man. You gotta pick.
It's a tough one. They're all pretty good. I mean, I could bring a perspective from the other side of cold calling because I'm in sales and I used to do a lot of that, but it's kind of worthless at this point. So maybe we start there. But yeah, let's go with cold calling.
All right, let's go with cold calling. Just remember, never mention the company you work for on this podcast.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Otherwise, I gotta bleep shit out. I don't
I
want
won't have a job tomorrow. I gotta feed my kids.
So cold calling. Today, I got a cold call. Usually, I fuck with the people, and it's so much fun. Like when Geico calls me up, I'm like, oh yeah, actually, I work for Allstate. Are you interested in insurance? I turn it back around on them. I fuck with them. But today, I just, I kind of had enough of it. And this lady called me, and I get always, are you are you in debt? Do you have financial debt? And I said to her, are you the same company that I tell all the time to take me off the list? And she's like, well, now that I look at this is the first time I'm calling you, so it must be somebody else. So I say, all right, well, can you take me off this list too? And she goes, well, sir, I'm not trying to sell you. And I just cut her off. I was like, you're relentless. I was like, if I saw you in person, would you be this fucking relentless to me still? And she goes to me, well, sir, I don't want to get into an argument with you. I'm like, hey, I know you don't want to get into a fucking argument. Just take me off the fucking list. Like, Jesus Christ, man. You know what I mean? And they're going to follow up because they're doing a shitty job if they go, okay, sir, no problem. I'll take you off the list.
Yeah, right.
Crazy business. I don't know how those people make, like, what do you think the success percentage of those calls are? Like 0.00001%, right? Like your
There's always one
warranty is up. Wow, you caught me at the right time, dude. Like, who closes those deals?
There's always one idiot that agrees with that. Like, yeah, fucking sell me that shit. I got people like I get pissed too because I get it on my cell phones now, not just like the home phone. Like home phone used to just get fucking inundated with them, but now you got their cell phone, and then all of a sudden you get fucking these strange numbers. I have somebody that keeps calling me for, do I want extended warranty on my very first car I had? I had a 1994 Grand Am, like with a big hole in it, like, and they still ask me for a fucking warranty. I'm like, fucking crazy.
They do the same shit, dude. They
Like,
asked me for the 2007 Jeep Wrangler, can we do the extended warranty? And I tell them that I no longer have the car, and then they say, what are you driving now? And I always tell them a 1985 Lamborghini Countach. And the best part is that they go, that's too old, we can't insure it, and then they hang up on them.
I love how they're so nasty. They just fucking so rude. They hang up on you completely.
Right.
Because they get hung up on all day too. So I guess they're just like, fuck you. So
We're the asshole. You're the one disturbing me. Like, I should have the right to hang up on you. You don't go fucking flip the shit. Then I wish I had the phone number to actually call them back. because you call it back, you don't get that same person. Because I've tried that. I've tried calling back people that harass me about these fucking warranties just to fuck with them.
Yeah.
Always something different, or just the phone never works.
Some guy told me to go fuck myself one time. I gave it so good. An Indian guy. He's like, you know what? Fuck you, man. And I was like, fuck you too. Then I guess I don't know. But one time I told this guy that I loved him, right? Because we were just I was joking with him. I was like, man, I gotta go. I love you, man. And he's like, I love you too, man. It was hilarious. Sometimes they're like, you know, you can just fuck around with each other on there and it's fun, but other times.
Oh yeah, I could hear my, like, you know, sometimes, like, you know, if I overhear my dad, if I come home and he's in the kitchen and he's like talking with somebody, I know it's one of these people, and he's just like fucking, like, he's having a field day with him. It's like his new friends or whatever. Like, I'm like, yo, stop talking to them. They're gonna fucking show up one day. I don't want a bunch of telemarketers in my fucking backyard hanging out, having fucking burgers. You know what I mean?
Trying to sell me everything underneath the sun.
It's gonna be like that infomercial where you see, like, as seen on TV, he's gonna have a whole backyard full of shit one day. He's gonna be fucking senile. He's just gonna fucking yes to everybody.
But everything. You know, it sucked though.
Shake weight again.
With the shake weight. That's me fucking shake weights.
That's my 18th shake weight.
Okay. 2 arms with it. 3 shake weight.
You know, it sucked though. You said like house phones, but at least we just have our phones right here, so you could call up. You pick up. You're like, fuck you. Imagine you're watching Jeopardy and you gotta keep getting up before like cordless phones. Like, oh, who is it? Maybe it's fucking my neighbor, and it's the same fucking telephone marketing call all the time. And you're like, you motherfucker, you made me get up just now. At least we don't have to get up for that shit anymore.
Yo, imagine you got up and you threw your back out and then you had to answer that fucking telemarketer. Forget about it. You would have got fucking hell straight upon him.
Hell yeah.
I wonder who's like the top dog of that industry though. Like the guy that's the Wolf of Wall Street, like closing those extended warranty deals constantly.
You know, he's a genius. He's a genius.
Right? He's got to be a genius. He's out on a yacht. He's out on a yacht spending all that money.
Hanging out with Justin Bieber. He's the very top of the pyramid. You always hear about it, like a pyramid scheme.
Yeah,
he's the very top guy. That's the guy that controls all the telemarketers. Piece of shit.
Yeah, you could one day be like that guy. Like,
no thanks.
Exactly.
I'm picturing like a fucking real smooth Indian guy walking into the building, like with his headphones on, like bopping, and like, oh man, Shareem's here, you know? They're just like loving him. Like one day you'll be like, Shareem, you just got to call 6,000 people a day. Fucking rough, man. I guess our hats off to them because they got a fucking terrible job.
Yeah, it's a terrible job.
Yeah,
it's a terrible job.
Paid for that. God bless you. Hopefully you get a lot of benefits.
Yeah, no, I cold call. I mean, I used to cold call. That's part of my job, but I don't do it anymore. It's a fucking waste of my time. It's a waste of the guy on the opposite end's time. And nobody ever picks the phone up. So then you find yourself leaving a voicemail.
Hello?
And it's terrible. You get to the end of it. You hit the pound key because you want to listen to how much of a fucking schmuck you sounded like. But then you take another attempt at it and another attempt. By the time you're done, you got 17 different fucking tries leaving the guy voicemail, and then you'd end up deleting it. And it's like a waste of a fucking hour and a half, man. It's crazy.
Now you're making me feel bad for those people, man. Shit. Like, I don't know. They go home probably so upset at the end of the day. Like, I failed again. Yeah. Nobody picked up ever. No. Like, yeah, I'd fucking lose my shit, man.
Brutal. But that just goes to show, like, those guys, like, typical, like, the Boiler Room movie, Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh yeah,
those guys back in the day, in the 70s, that could call somebody up randomly without having a relationship, close a fucking deal, get that guy to give you $50,000 over the phone without a handshake.
Right.
I mean, those fucking guys were pimp back in the day, man. Like, that was definitely an art form.
It's payday, fellas.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a lost art form. Like, nobody's doing that anymore. It's all through email. It's all social media, LinkedIn, that kind of stuff. But
they were probably so happy to get phone calls back then. Back in the day, like, oh my god, the phone rang. We have something to do today.
Right.
And of course, it was probably like an easy sell. Like, there was nothing else going on. You know, they probably had like a black and white TV in the living room, and they just didn't do shit all day.
That's true, dude. That is true. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I remember the phone on the wall back in the day. Somebody called for you. I'm like, who called for me? Like, yeah, I'm like, ooh, I'm like all excited. Miss those things. And now sometimes I look at the phone as my friends. I'm like, I ain't picking up.
Yeah, Mike used to never pick my phone call up. I don't know. Maybe 2 years ago, he started actually picking my phone call up.
Yeah, it took me a while to like you. I was like, yeah, I don't know about this fucking guy, man.
Yeah.
And then I was like, it said decline.
Me. What?
It was like the decline button. Accept. I was like, decline.
Decline.
I never picked up ever. Never wanted to hang out with me, just like one-on-one. I think maybe because he was afraid that he would probably try to make out with me because I'm so goddamn good looking. I don't know.
I was scared to be murdered. I was like, this dude is a psycho. He's gonna fucking kill me.
Would never fucking hang out with me ever. And then all of a sudden, I don't know. When did you start? When I started gambling on fucking football games?
Yeah, I was like, oh, he's like me. I was like, I like this fucking guy. And then like I have another friend named Mike Balarsik that I actually have in his phone when he calls me. It reminds me. It says, do not pick up Malarzik. So it reminds me not to pick up the phone. You know, I need those fucking reminders.
Oh shit.
Funny the way it was back then.
You guys ever see the dude Corporate Bro on Instagram? He does a lot of those funny skits about cold calling and makes fun of like
somebody fucking sent those.
He's hysterical. Yeah, he's hysterical.
He nails it. I mean, he's making money off the corporate world by pretending like he's in the corporate world. He's probably not. I mean, he's probably making so much money off his. Yeah, he's got a lot of followers, right?
No, I came up from the industry too. Yeah, no, he's held some IT sales role positions, that sort of thing. But no, it hits home. It's good. It's definitely good stuff to know that somebody else can bring some humor to the shit world we live in sometimes.
Well, if we're talking about the marketing and ads and stuff, what about the ads that pop up every time you speak? And Mike, you had something the other day where you thought.
Yeah. All right. So this is gonna sound crazy. I'm giving you a little peek into fucking my mind and what I think all day. Okay. Well, I didn't type this in. I didn't search this at all. I didn't Google it. All I was thinking, I just had a random thought in my head. I'm like, I wonder how many fucking chicks Ryan Reynolds banged. I'm like, I bet he had such a career, you know? And sure enough as shit, I swear to God, I'm looking through my Twitter feed and I'm like, I see like how many women Ryan Reynolds dated. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, how'd they know?
I had 2 serious girlfriends. And then there's some other smattering of women.
Like how? No, that sick thought was in my head. Like, I don't even know why I thought it. I'm like I don't know why that popped in my head. It just popped in my head. I'm like, oh, yeah, I kind of wonder. Maybe because I was like watching Alanis Morissette. I've been listening to her music like recently. So maybe because he went out with her like back in the day. And I love Alanis Morissette, by the way. But yeah, all of a sudden, man, that shit just fucking popped up on my fucking promotion tweets. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, you got me. You fucking guys got me. You're in my fucking head.
It's crazy, man. I've been trying to figure it out too. It's happened to me. I don't recall the exact situation, but definitely happened to me more than once. And I don't know if it's like, I mean, you guys did a podcast recently, like with Third Dimension and all that kind of talk, but like,
stop acting like
putting energy out in the world, and then that's somehow landing on a system that then makes its way into your fucking Instagram feed. I have no idea, but it's like, it's creepy. I mean, I thought the whole, like, you know, I understand why when you say something, it ends up in your feed. And I thought that was really crazy, but this shit is just fucking, this is like next level, next dimension kind of stuff.
I got to say, Ed just pulled the ultimate corporate bro on us just now. The guy listened to probably 3 seconds of our 150 hours worth of fucking podcasts and pulled one piece out and pretended like,
no, I'm a religious fan. I've been watching this show since the beginning. I've been watching your client base or your audience grow from half a person to like 35. I'm all in, guys.
Sure, Ed. You just listened to like 3 minutes of research.
No, Nick sent me a link before, and I happened to stumble across the right part.
This is your homework.
Tell Ed how far of a reach we have across the globe.
Oh, dude, like we reached places like I never heard of. Like, you ever heard of this place called France and a place called India? Like, we made it there, wherever the hell that is. Uganda, the United States of America. So we're all around the globe, man. We're reaching different places, man. It's crazy. We're out there. People listening to us. So like and subscribe and hit that smash button, Ed. What are you doing on this podcast? Get to work. Tell the corporate world. Tell all your friends. That's it.
Oh yeah. So I wanted to. Oh yeah. Well, Eugene said that he thinks the 5G is linked up to our brains, and that's where they just suck in everything. Which, listen, some people might be like, some people are stupid and they say that's impossible. But why is it impossible? If your brainwaves are real, that's a scientific fact.
Yep.
And everything else is waves, microwaves, fucking 5G's obviously waves. The internet's waves going on, right? Why can't they interact with each other?
Yeah, I mean, that's the only logical explanation for this shit. Really.
Yeah.
Unless you're watching TV. So here's another scenario, right? Like, unless you're watching TV and the phone is listening to the TV and that sparks something in your subconscious, and then 5 minutes later you start thinking of it, and then you open up your Instagram, and then it's already in there because it heard something that was on the TV, let's say, right?
Could be.
That could be a scenario. But
Absolutely.
I mean, there's been times where you're sitting in a fucking room by yourself for a couple hours with no sound at all, and it still happens.
I don't know what you
Explain
do for
that
fun,
shit.
but I don't really sit in a room by myself for 2 hours with no sound. I don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Oh, I do.
I do.
work from home all day for the past.
You're weird, Nick. You don't do that? I go in the closet sometimes. I just hang out in the closet by myself.
I make sure that I talk to myself a little bit, like when I'm home by myself working from home, I'm like, hey, just so there's not that much silence.
Hey,
I do that in the
turn off
car.
ice, just so there's something in your Instagram feed.
Right. No, but
Yeah, Nick.
No, I've had that happen too, where shit comes up and I said, I convinced myself that I must have either like, because I understand like you Google search it and it's all fucking linked.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I must have searched for it. Mm-hmm. You know, or at the very least said it out loud.
Yeah, you're trying to fool yourself.
Right.
Oh, we know the truth, man. We fucking know, man.
Yeah.
Shit. They got us.
It's like when you hear somebody walking outside your bedroom door at 3 a.m, but you're too tired to get up and try to kill him. You just convince yourself you didn't hear it.
Or you're too petrified. You're like, I ain't give up.
Right.
Well, I got a dog for and a wife.
Honey, can you go get me some water? What?
Yeah. Honey, I'm thirsty. Plus, there might be a murderer out there. Go check.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
going on my Instagram right now. Let me see what's there.
All this.
Fucking hair plugs for men. Fuck.
You're going to see Ryan Reynolds is now following you.
Yeah. Yeah, imagine.
Let me do it.
It wasn't a riot. It was a protest.
Oh, God.
Who was that?
Wait, so what are you looking up?
I'm just seeing if I can come across an ad. Gabby Petito, shirts, clothing. Yeah, nothing there yet. Check again later.
Let me tell you something. On Twitter today, I just kind of went back on Twitter.
Nice.
This popped up and it said, I don't know who this person is. Tim, aka something, I don't know. He wrote to ESPN, why do you employ Perkins still? You know who Perkins is? Kendrick Perkins, I guess.
Yeah, he played basketball in the NBA for years, and now he's a talk show analyst on ESPN.
Okay, so apparently he said, okay, so this is what it goes. Why do you employ Perkins still? So calling people of Asian descent Bruce Lee is acceptable in your eyes? So I guess it went, you sure tweet a lot for someone who can't type. And then he said, this is not reading or writing class, Bruce Lee. So the guy called an Asian guy Bruce Lee.
Right.
And what I wanted to say was, if somebody called me Bruce Lee, I'd take this as a fucking compliment. Right?
Yeah.
What the fuck? You can't call somebody somebody else? Like if you call me fucking Roberto Mussolini, I'd be like, okay, good reference, man. I'm Italian. He's Italian. What do you want to call the fucking guy? And you're calling him the best Asian man that ever lived.
Either that or Jackie Chan, yeah.
Right.
Who gives a fuck?
It's
not
not like
Bruce Lee was badass. Man.
It's not like he called him the Chinese guy from the Hangover movies. You know what I mean? It wasn't really. I mean, but he used it in that context, though, of being a dick. Like he knew what he was doing. You know what I mean? So But all of a sudden, like, why ain't he fired? Why didn't the cancel culture people go after him?
Mm-hmm.
What, after Perkins, you saying?
Yeah, they went after like John Gruden with the NFL. Do you guys know what I mean? For our listeners, John Gruden used to be the head coach of the Raiders, and they found up emails from like 10 years ago, and they had like a bitter thing going on with the players union or whatever, and the head of the players union was DeMarcus Smith, black guy, whatever. And in the email, John Gruden said about him, he was like, "Oh, this guy has the lips the size of Michelin tires." Right now, listen, if you go back a day, it's funny. Like, stereotypes are funny. I don't give a shit what people say. People go after, like, sometime like my Irish is saying, "Oh, Irish people got a small dick." Everybody knows that's not true of me. Like, my shit's fucking perfect, right? Fucking nice size. So it's just all stereotypes. It's just like giving people like a little bit shit. We all joked around back in the day. So, but the way John Gruden used it, and he sent it in like an email talking about, your company, your sport, and it was a bad look. And obviously, like, the cancel culture went after him and got him to quit his job because he didn't want to be a fucking distraction anymore. But all of a sudden now, like, then you deal with Dave Chappelle, and Dave Chappelle went after all like the trannies or whatever, and in his latest special, like, he went after them, but it was in the context of a stand-up, joking around. So could John Gruden say like, "Hey, I'm just joking around too," in the email to my friend, thinking that it was private, it was just a joke? He should have just came out and say that. If they're not going after Dave Chappelle and they're not going after Kendrick Perkins, like, what are we doing here? We just picking and choosing? Something it doesn't seem right.
Well, I have my own opinion on all this stuff because I feel like everybody on the planet, for the most part, has said probably all of the worst things that you could ever say. And if you haven't, then I don't know, fucking increase your fucking vernacular a little bit, right? Like, everybody says fucking stuff that nobody else should fucking hear. And if you haven't, then call me up and tell me I'm an angel. I've never said anything bad in my life, right?
Right.
If all of you, if anybody on the planet's conversations was recorded since the beginning of their time, they'd be cancel cultured from anybody. But I just want to point out, I read the article about Gruden. And he said some fucking crazy shit, man. It's just funny stuff. It's funny, in my opinion, okay? Whoever he's emailing, number one, who ratted him out, should get his ass kicked because he's a troll. He's a motherfucking troll. Take a fucking beating. Gruden should be able to rip his fucking face off.
I'll tell you who it is later. Go.
Oh, we know who it is?
I know who it is. Yeah. Should I just say now?
Shame. Yeah, go for it. All right. After I'm done with this. So this is what John Gruden said in the email. He called the league's commissioner, Roger Goodell, a faggot and a clueless anti-football pussy.
Oh, shit.
See,
no one should have a problem with that. It's fucking hysterical.
People just gotta take it as a joke. It's fucking funny. Like, stop being so serious and stop being a bitch about it.
Say it again. Say it again.
I can't say it again. It's too mean.
Say the word.
Listen, all I can say is every football fan on the planet has said the same thing about John Gruden. About fucking Roger Goodell during every draft. Everybody's, "Look at this fucking pussy. You fucking queer. You fucking piece of shit." They use every fucking word under the planet to describe him. Nobody likes the fucking guy.
They boo him like it's a farce. Like, what do you think's happening?
Do you think that Gruden like just pissed somebody off, the wrong person, maybe in the NFL, and was like, "Throw it out, fucking let it leak"? Probably Roger Goodell.
It was probably fucking him. Fucking, they call John Gruden Chucky. I'm like, of course Chucky's gonna be fucking saying racial shit. You ever see him? He's a little fucking puppet murderer.
Hi, I'm Chucky, of course he's an asshole. And I'm your friend to the end.
So who put it out, Mike?
All right, so basically, like, the NFL was doing their investigation into the Washington Redskins team about like all their fucking terrible transgressions over the years. So it came out that, Washington was a bad culture to begin with the owner. They treated their organization, people that work there, like shit. So they have lawsuits going against the owner and the team. So basically, the Washington Redskins took their cheerleaders out to like an island or whatever, and the owner or whatever forced the cheerleaders to pose topless, and they took pictures, and they took those pictures, and I guess Dan Snyder or whoever in Washington organization, they sent email to John Gruden showing the pictures of that. So then it started. They were going through like, no joke, it was something like 600,000 emails between all this, going through records, all that shit. And that's how they found it. I guess they stumbled upon an image with, you know, titties out or whatever. And they were like, what's this? And then they started looking more deep into that. So of course there's like other people around the NFL that are going to probably like come out as being bad or cancel culture. Hopefully it's none of the Giants, but anybody else, whatever. But they're going to find out more information. So this is not going to stop here. There's going to be a lot more shit.
Dude, remember in the 1950s, a coach would, after game, he'd be smoking cigs. He'd be smoking like 3 packs of cigarettes. Not that I remember this at all, but you know, and then the interviewer would be like, there's been talk that you were out all weekend banging prostitutes and getting drunk. And he's just like this, smoking a cig, like, yo, next question. And that would be the fucking end of it. When a man was fucking, could just lay his foot down. Yeah. Nobody has the balls to just say, you know what? I don't give a fuck what you said. Yeah, I said it. What if you owned up to him? Like, what are you going to do about it? You know?
Yeah. The whole system would implode. It'd be too much for everybody to handle.
Yeah. That's why they say, who's that comedian back in the day? The old guy with the gray hair that used to just chug Jack Daniels all the time. Or whiskey.
Yeah, I saw him in New Orleans. What was his name?
Good. Fuck him.
Everybody knows who we're talking about.
Yep. Drinks the scotch.
I just inserted the name because I'm going to find this later. So you just heard the name. Everybody right there. So I'll find it.
Or whatever he is. He wouldn't have given into this shit. They would have tried so hard to cancel him, but he wouldn't have fucking.
Oh, no. Ron White.
That's his name?
Yeah.
No.
I thought it was George.
No, George Carlin.
Oh, George Carlin. Oh, you think? Yeah. Oh, George Carlin. Yeah.
He'd be like, come and get me, bitches.
Right. He won't give a fuck. He'd tell it how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Ron White would also, if you know who he is, he's a fucking maniac. He's the guy that drinks the scotch and smokes the cigars, like right out there on stage.
He's like a stepbrother of George Carlin.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's 2 comedians I got to fucking start watching again.
Let me tell you something. I read up on the Dave Chappelle thing that you were talking about before.
Right.
And Dave Chappelle doesn't hold back.
He doesn't
say anything.
That's why I love him.
Yeah, he's great. It's hilarious. And
not a bitch.
He was talking about the transgenders, and ends up that another, I think it was a transgender comedian, like became friends with him, and because he didn't look down on it, thought it was funny stuff.
Right.
And then the cancel culture, came in and was attacking Dave Chappelle. I don't know. Maybe he said, go fuck yourself to them, but she got his back.
Oh, yeah.
And the LGBTQ community turned against her. And a week later, she ended up killing herself.
Wow.
And just because she like supported Dave Chappelle, right. Like Dave Chappelle had her open for one of his concerts. And he was like, oh, she bombed for 35 minutes. But then when she sat down in the crowd to watch Dave's act, she said something and she became funny. The whole crowd loved her. They were going back and forth with Dave. And then Dave was like really upset that these people on Twitter or social media, whatever, went after her so hard like that to make her want to fucking kill herself. Like, imagine all the hate she's reading on this fucking social media. And she took it to heart. Like, a lot of people, they can't separate that. People take that kind of shit to heart. Like, if people, like, I had people come at me on Twitter for the other podcasts I do for the Giants, and they're trolls. And I'm just like, I just think of them as trolls. I'm like, all right, if I seen you in public, I'd choke you. But obviously I can't do that here. It's social media. So I either have to say something negative and join your conversation, or I just let it go and just like let trolls be trolls, man. You know what I mean?
That's it. You guys are always talking about trolls, though. No, you wouldn't even have the opportunity to choke that guy out, Mike, because he would have never said anything to you in person anyway.
Well,
right? I mean, that's the definition of a troll.
Right. But
and they're hard to catch. They're very nervous.
But Ed, me and Nick are now troll hunters, so we have one, and we're gonna show him on next week's episode of the Mix It Up podcast. He'd be tied up in my basement.
Oh shit.
Meet Nick. He's your typical guy. Works a 9-to-5 job, just trying to get by. But when nighttime comes, things get a little bit different.
Let's go! Let's get this fucking job! Who's fucking with me? Let's fucking go!
Hey man, these people, they jump aboard and they say, oh, we got this new thing. We got this new person we could come after. And I know the energy they feel they almost ride. They're almost fucking floating when it happens. Like, "Ah!" And they're fucking ready, and all their bullshit energy, it gets so fucking amped up. And then afterwards, when they come down, they're fucking sitting in front of their TV with a jug of fucking ice cream and just fucking, they're so depressed, and they're just waiting for the next thing, the next person that they can make fun of on Twitter or badmouth or say, hey Sam, did you get on the bandwagon trying to get the that transgender comedian that supported Dave Chappelle? Come on, let's get her. And then they jump in, and then she killed herself.
Yeah, why are they so successful though? Like, why is the minority so successful in getting their voices heard, and the majority is so unsuccessful?
That's a great question.
That's what I want to know.
It's the power of social media. Like, you get a bunch of trolls together that support you. You get enough trolls, you can make a difference in your troll life.
There seems to be no power in numbers anymore in today's age and what's going on in the world, just generally. But it's fascinating to me to realize like how such a small select group of people can have their voices amplified so greatly through social media. Right. And then we sit here powerless and just get everything is ripped out from underneath us. Meanwhile, the majority of people feel exactly the same way that we do, yet we feel powerless at the end of the day. It just, blows my mind.
I don't know if it has something to do with, like, you know, when they say, like, if you're born into money, you don't really have to try to succeed or anything like that. But like poor people, more like, or the lower side of, like, they have a fucking fierce fire that's in them to try to rise up. I think it's probably like that, because the majority's up here like all comfortable, like, yeah, I can pretty much do whatever I want. And then when one person's like, yeah, but why can't I do that? Then they get fucking furious, and their voice is going to be heard. And that's fine when it's a good thing. But these assholes, like, they have nobody listening to them, and this is their only outlet where they can attack people. And it's very easy to jump on board on social media to join the bandwagon of attacking people. And it's sad that that's the only enjoyment that they get out of life. They have no other hobbies, you know? Get a fucking hobby, troll.
That's all they want to do is just fucking like troll havoc.
We should name some hobbies that trolls can do so they could, you know, go on with their lives. Like, what's a hobby that a troll could do? Like dig a hole?
Crochet, something.
Make breakfast.
Badminton. Just stay in your hole, troll. It's all you fucking need, piece of shit.
Play darts by yourself.
Right. Repaint your door on your troll house. Like stuff like that.
Go steal carrots from underground. Piece of fucking troll, piece of shits.
Dye your hair. Dye your pink hair green.
Cook stew in the crock pot.
Paint your body purple and fucking dye your hair green, you fucking get it over with.
Oh shit. But Dave Chappelle, the Dave Chappelle thing, he also said something. So he was talking about like a rapper or something. Calls out cancel culture comedian defense. All right, so this is what happened.
The baby.
Yeah. Is he a rapper?
Yeah, he's a rapper. I never listened to his music. I never heard it, but I just heard of him being a rapper.
Okay.
I thought it was a stupid name, but whatever.
So what happened? The baby, like, he said something.
He makes a great point there. Something about, I mean, the baby shot and killed somebody in a Walmart, apparently.
Well, he was part of the shooting, right?
Nobody, something along those lines. But no one seemed to really care one way or another about it.
Right.
And then maybe takes a jab at a minority group, whether is it LGBTQ, I don't know, or something of something along those lines. And, you know, the outrage is through the roof kind of thing. And he's like, this guy can be part of a murder. No one cares, but he can, you know, make fun of some lesbian and they want to fucking crucify him. So it's like the disparity between those two things is outrageous. Yes. And it's true. And it's funny, you know, that's the thing. Like the true things that Dave Chappelle says are, I think, the funniest, and especially along the lines of how he kind of crafts his art. But it's hysterical. I'm pissed that I actually fell asleep last night. I was so tired. I was watching it. I had to go to bed like 35 minutes into it, but it was amazing.
You got to watch it the rest tonight, man, because it's great. The way you're right, the way he articulates it and the way he tells the story, it just makes it sounds so stupid when these people are like trying to cancel people. He makes them sound like so petty and so fucking stupid, you know? And I think at one point he said Twitter ain't real or whatever. It's not real life. So like, yeah, he's on point with all that shit. I don't blame the guy, but it's just weird how like the cancel culture people like they pick and choose who they want out. Like, are they really going that hard after Dave to make him quit? Meanwhile, Netflix is supporting him. John Gruden, they want out because he said some fucking shit, but it's just I don't know. It's weird how they decide who they're gonna go after.
Right. Yeah, because I mean anything could get buried, right? Any news could have gotten buried if you knew the right person. But if you don't know the right people and those people hate you, yeah, Gruden's definitely a dick.
Yeah, he's definitely a dick. That's why people kind of be like, all right, let's let this get out. Yeah, you're right. If you're an asshole, like that shit's gonna come out.
I could imagine. Just imagine hanging out with John Gruden at a party. His drinking, his face is so fucking red, and he's just going nuts.
Yeah,
right.
Chucky. It's fucking Chucky.
He's Chucky, 100%. Yeah, you can't hang out with that guy.
No, he's gonna say some dumb shit, and then you're gonna have to fight for him. Because look at this fucking asshole. He can't take care of himself. You're gonna have to carry him to fucking to the bathroom and shit. What an embarrassment Chucky is. What a piece.
Carry him to the bathroom. Come on, John.
It's like enough already. Stop with your racial comments already. But that's what it is, man. Like I support Dave Chappelle no matter what. I think it's everything that says as a joke. Like if people just took it as a joke, there honestly be nothing wrong. Like even if John Gruden didn't say it as a joke, he said it to derogatory about Smith. Okay, if you're Smith, just fucking fight him over it. Go back at him. Why does it have to include everybody else? Like why? Don't be a bitch. Go right after. Yeah. Said that about you. But like, yo, you heard what you said about me. Talk about my lips, motherfucker. Like, fuck you, Chucky. I'll fucking shoot you in the head. Like, go do something. Stick up for yourself. Don't stick up for yourself in like social media and say, oh, it's just bad for him to say those kind of remarks. Right. Stop being a bitch. If everybody just fucking like able to take a punch or throw a punch, there'd be no fucking stories like this.
If everybody can take and throw punches.
That's it, right? I mean,
dude, would you ever confront John Gruden?
Are you fucking crazy? Hell no.
That man would be on top of you like a fucking hyena on your fucking face, man. What would it be like? He's like a fucking Tasmanian devil on you. You would never survive through that.
No fucking way. But I have to get lucky. I have to get lucky with a nice shot to the jaw.
You have to be Bruce Lee.
You have to be Bruce
pretty
much. Kick him on the side of the fucking temple.
Shit. Well, I mean, I got to be honest with you. We're through all our topics, so we got to come up with something else to talk about.
Really? Well, let's take a quick commercial break, and then Ed's going to just pick a topic out of his head. So we'll be right back on the Mix It Up podcast.
Nibbles.
All right, we are back on the Mix It Up podcast. I'm Mike. That's Nick. That's Ed. Now we got to come up with another topic to keep this show moving. What's going to be the topic? Didn't somebody come with like, I don't know, some crazy funny word this morning in a text message?
Crazy word? Like what?
A crazy word. Somebody like ambience. Ambia? That how to pronounce it?
It's called ambiance.
I don't even know what that means. What does that mean?
This is hysterical. Should I tell the viewers what the background behind this?
Yeah. I want to know what the word means first, and then you describe what the story you're about to tell.
Oh my God, this is hysterical. This makes the story so much better now, looking back on it, Nick. That Mike doesn't even know
I knew he didn't know. I knew he didn't know because you brought it up to him before. He's like,
oh my God,
like looking in the clouds.
Let me set the stage here. So we're in Atlantic City, what, 2, 3, 4 years ago, something like that.
Probably
it's me, my brother, one other guy, all bunked up in the same room, drinking all day at a sports bar. Then the three of us here decide to go out and grab a steak. The other guy sticks back at the sports bar. I don't know what G did.
Oh, but now you can name him. He went to go. When we go down to the steakhouse, he goes to the fucking $12 burger joint.
All right.
He really does. He really does.
He was better off if we would have stayed at the first set of seats that we sat at. But anyway, I think the restaurant was pretty packed. We couldn't get seats on a table, couldn't get seats at the front bar. So they asked us, would you like to sit at the bar towards the back? And we were like, sure. We didn't really know what we were getting ourselves into, but there happened to be 3 seats on like a little protruding countertop that was half in the restaurant and half inside the kitchen. And we were facing with our backs to all the action. and in front of us is a Mexican guy cleaning all the wine glasses in one of those steam machines, and that's what he was doing. Like, we sat there for 10 or so minutes. I guess Nick and Mike had a great time. I was fixated on this Mexican man cleaning the glasses and couldn't get over it. And I was like, guys, we should really just throw the towel in before we order drinks and get the waitress all excited and place our dinner meal. So like the ambiance was just so much better at that other restaurant. Let's go back over there. Mike was like, apparently he didn't know what ambiance meant, and he was really hungry at this point. But I was insistent because, I mean, if you're going to spend $150 each and have an $80 steak, it's got to come with the ambiance, right? I mean, am I right?
Listen, I've ate right in front of the kitchen before on that little small table. I felt like I was part of the kitchen. They even asked me, like, at the end of our meal, like, yo, you want to come back and wash dishes? I'm like, yeah, fucking sure. I'm a part of this now. So I don't mind fucking sitting there. Listen, I don't care about that big word you just said, but I love just eating a steak. So I'll eat a steak. I'll fucking
eat a steak anywhere.
Yeah, if I'll go outside fucking on Indian style, fucking sit there in the fucking casino, just give me a plate and a nice steak. I don't even need a knife and a fork. I'll throw that thing down in 5 minutes, man. Those steaks are fucking delicious out there. Bobby Filet, baby.
Now, I thought you were going to say you need a steak right off the floor of Indian Point. Like, and apparently, what I'm hearing, you would do that. Like,
fucking why not?
I got to ask you guys something, because I don't know if I'm confusing stories. But didn't we go to one steakhouse and they put us in a side room and it was terrible ambiance and we forced Mike to get up and then we went to another restaurant?
We ended up at Bobby Flay's afterwards. We went to Bobby Flay's first. The wait was too much. Then we went over to that other place and then we sat down at the bar.
But we're confusing. Oh, so that was the bar.
No, and then we went back to the other one. I'm like, guys, come on, like, we got to go back to Bobby Flay's. We have to.
But
right?
Bobby
Flay's, we have to wait a little bit or whatever. So we ended up, like, maybe when we got back there, I had to wait a couple minutes or something like that. But then we sat at that really cool bar with all the ambiance. And the ambiance was fucking pouring out of everybody's ears.
Okay.
I drink a lot at these anytime we go to Atlantic City. So, like, I'm taking your word for it because I really don't remember.
But you bring up another really good point, because there are restaurants. I've never partaken in any of this. Like, sitting inside the kitchen is supposed to be a really good experience. Like, at some of these top end restaurants, they have a table built inside of the kitchen, VIP style. So it's like you're in your private little section. You get to see all the hustle and bustle inside the kitchen and everybody running in and out. And it kind of creates also like a different ambiance, right? I mean, I don't think that was the ambiance we were necessarily looking for that night, but
people want that. I don't want to see that.
People want that.
I don't want to see how the food's getting fucking made and sent out.
I don't watch them drop my chicken cutlets on the floor.
And on it.
I don't need to see that.
This what you want?
I'm trying to think of other things in my head. I was trying to come up with something where you could be like, that's like going to a strip club and sitting in the waiting room or the dressing room the whole time. Is there anything else that we can compare that to? Because that's the only thing that I could think of.
It's like being awake during your surgery. You don't want to see that shit. Take the liver out, put the new one in, and let me get on with the night.
Being your own doctor. Yeah, I don't know. Well,
what do you guys do when there's like awkward silence like this for a couple?
There's not much. There's never awkward silence like with this. There's never awkward silence like this unless there's an awkward guest on. I'm just kidding.
Gotta blame him. We'll blame the guest. Yeah. Keep blaming the people that come on the show.
Always blame the guests.
I gotta rely on you to do the filler material.
Yeah, I was trying to think what other topics we had left. I don't know if there was any.
No, we definitely don't have any topics that we planned on discussing. We breezed through them today, but
yeah, I think so.
I'm at a loss of words right now.
Not bad, man. Hey, listen, sometimes it happens. We mix it up so much we're fucking brain dead.
We can't go yet. Ed, come up with one more topic for the people.
I mean, we did start like an hour ago, so it's not that bad.
No, we started at like 9:30. This is the shortest podcast we ever did.
Oh yeah, usually we go like on like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we could talk about like I had an experience today, just generally like inventions. Like you know when you think you're the first creator of something in the world until you Google it and realize that somebody thought of it 5 years prior.
Yeah.
I had another one of those things today that I was like, I had a screenshot on my computer, and obviously you can't click into the text because it's now a picture. And I was wishing I could actually like double click into the text somehow, turn it into live text, and like copy and paste that into Word. And I'm like, wow, that would be a brilliant feature, right? To be able to do that, to extract live text out of a flat image, let's say. So I Googled it, and now apparently the new iPhone 13 has that capability, and it was just invented, I don't know, or just released a couple months ago.
Wait. What does it do?
I get that. Because sometimes you get frustrated, like, oh, I can't fucking copy and paste that.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck.
You got to type it all out again.
Yeah.
Copy and paste
So anyway, the new iPhone, let's say for a cookbook, for example, you open up your mom's cookbook and she's got a whole list of stuff to buy at the supermarket, right? So you can take a picture of it, and now typically it would be static, and but now you can extract the live text, copy and paste that into notes, and maybe delete some stuff or add some stuff to it. It's a cool feature, and I'd probably be a millionaire if I thought of it a couple of years ago. But
well, I'm going to give you an idea that I just created off of that one, and somebody can run with it if they want. Just give me a little bit of credit. You ever taken a real picture from back in the day, like in the 80s when pictures were taken and stuff like that? And your first instinct is to go like this on it and zoom in on it. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, I've done that. It's crazy.
What if there's something made, like a piece of glass that you put the picture in under, and you can zoom in on it because it just pixelates it.
Mm-hmm.
Zoomage time.
Mm-hmm.
Is it necessary? No, because like, how many times do you really try to zoom in on a fucking picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it comes in mad clear though. It comes in like so fucking perfect. I hate when you zoom into something and it comes out all distorted. Like, why did I waste my time zoom? Like, get bigger. I wasted time doing that.
My time zooming.
Yeah, you need fucking some time where you just fucking make that shit pop, and it's fucking like breathtaking.
Oh yeah.
Let's make that happen. Let's make that fucking happen, man. We need to come out with technology like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wish I knew how to make technology like that. You just gotta wait for the aliens to show up.
I know, man. That's why these coding classes these young kids are taking nowadays, man. It's like, imagine if we had that stuff when we were younger.
Oh, forget about it. I'd be like,
build your own applications. Like a lot of this stuff that they make today is not very hard either. I mean, like the concepts are all very simple. Send money to my friend. Look at like the pictures that my cousin's putting up on. It's all like simple stuff. But it's the coding. I think that these guys, that generation that made all of this technology today, they jumped on that coding wagon way early on. Now a lot of these kids in school, like everybody's taking a coding class in like second grade. You're coding shit. You're making games in school and stuff.
Making apps, coming up with all these different apps and shit. You know how many ideas I had for apps to get made? But like Ed was saying, it was always fucking made already,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing about it back in the day, like before the internet, you had an idea and you were like, you sincerely thought that you were the only person that had that idea, that it was an original idea.
Yeah. Because
like, what the fuck are we going to do? Go to the card catalog at the library and look, how are you going to find out that someone else in the world had that idea? So you genuinely thought that the ideas you had back in the day were, like unique and first of a kind, whereas they were probably just run of the mill, one of a dozen.
It's crazy. If you had like to know something back in the day, if you were just walking around like town like an idiot, you would have to go to the library to like know something. Like that's pretty wild. Like, you know how many people that are probably so lazy they just want to remain stupid and they were like, I'm not gonna fucking learn, and they never went to the library ever.
And they exist today too. They have the phones in their hands, and a lot of these people, like, how many questions do you ask yourself a day? and you go to the phone. It's very simple, and you ask them, and now you're that much more knowledgeable. Like, but there are people today they think of these things and they don't even know enough to go. They're too lazy to just fucking like actually type it in or talk to Siri and find the answer.
Right.
They still exist, believe it or not, even with the technology today.
I did it today. I was like, Siri, what does ambiance mean? And then they fucking Siri told me. Siri told me what it was.
Mike, turn the lights off in your house and think of something sexy.
I think that's my cue. Is that my cue to leave, guys? Do you want
look at Nick's background right now. That is like 0 ambiance. But then look at your background, Mike. That is like 10 out of 10 ambiance, dude.
Fucking perfect.
Is this ambiotic? Is this ambiotic right now?
That's scary, dude. If you put a light up to the bottom of your face, that'll look fucking terrifying. Yo, your teeth sound mad white. Crazy. You don't even got a blue light in there. The fucking she's fucking mad bright.
Isn't it fucking nuts? You guys have mices? Do you guys use mouses? Do you guys use a mouse for your computer?
Yeah.
Think about how you're moving your mouse around and the fucking cursor goes exactly where you want it to go. How is this thing so synchronized with that computer that I could hold it over here and it works? I can hold it down here and it works. What the fuck is going on? And then the pixels are showing you guys' faces to me, and my computer screen is this fucking thin, and it's doing all this. And then somebody goes, okay, now we made the internet, and how do we get the internet to this computer? How do we get the internet to work on the screen? And then it works.
Crazy, man. Thank God for all the smart people in the world. You know?
The mouses were the first thing to use. Like, remember the mouses was like on a wire? It was on a wire connected to your computer back in the day. It wasn't just freehand. Mouse on a wire.
Mouse on a wire.
That's the title of the show right there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yo, but that shit was just like, it was weird. Like, your computer, first off, was like the size of a 1980s TV back in the day, the very first computer. Like, you needed like 3 to 4 guys to carry your computer from downstairs into your fucking apartment. You know what I mean? It was that fucking heavy. You could kill somebody. If you drop your computer back in the day out like a window, you could fucking murder somebody.
I'm pretty sure you could do that with any computer.
Yeah, throw my Apple fucking thing out the window. There'd be barely a scratch. But you throw those, but remember those that had the big fucking backs and shit? Like, it was like, what's in here?
Yeah.
And there was nothing in that computer back in the day. It was like fucking like a
do anything with it either.
there was no You
You're
fucking
right.
MS-DOS, whatever the fuck that is. I was putting little floppy dicks in the fucking. How stupid was that? Like, I was saving about 3 sentences on floppy disks. I had to get like 18 floppy disks to have a full conversation. Like, missed those days.
You remember the B drive, Mike? We think we talked about it with that, the big floppy disk.
Right. The fucking B drive.
shit,
It looked like it's looking like I'm putting a frisbee in the goddamn thing. Like, what is this fucking thing? What am I doing?
Like you're making a big ass grilled cheese for yourself.
Yeah, I heated up fucking lunch with that fucking thing.
Holy shit.
Those were the days.
Best floppy disk I ever owned, man. You owned it too, Nick. You know what it is.
Oh, I know
you
what it is.
know what it is.
I know what it is.
Worst.
Wait, you talking about the strip poker one or
my teddy right now? Yeah, you know.
like, I don't know. I was like 8 probably, right, Ed? You were 11.
Young.
And we got like the first computer ever made or something. And we had the B drive and we plop it in. We didn't even know what the games were, right? Like, I don't know. Our dad got it and he like got it from somebody. And it's a strip poker game. And we're playing it fucking when we're kids.
Oh, that was great.
Impossible to win. I think maybe I won once, but what
There
did
were
you
like
say?
8 pixels on the fucking screen.
Yeah.
It took like an hour for each pixel. Like, oh my god, I'm gonna see a nip. Is that a nip? One more
Yeah, we
pixel.
learned how to play poker that way, though. That's why we're so good at poker today. We really wanted to get that girl naked that badly.
Ed said,
Motivation.
there's one line that we always remember is, I offer you my teddy,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my god, I remember that game now.
Do you really?
Kids. Oh my god, I was a creeper too, man. I had that fucking game.
Wow. And that was when she took off her like she had a silky lingerie kind of thing. on.
Yeah.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
She was like, I'll offer you my teddy. And she took the teddy off. And then maybe she was left with like the lace bra.
Wow,
or
dude.
Lace panties or something like that. It's good.
That line is in the back of my head. It was there. It was there the whole time.
Dude, first time anybody ever hears that from that game, they're like, what the fuck's a teddy?
Yeah.
Right?
And until this day, you still don't know exactly what a fucking teddy is. You just know it's one step closer, one step further away from you getting that chick naked out the fucking game.
Oh yeah.
It's in the way.
Right.
Right.
Oh shit.
All right. Well, I guess that's it with the Mix It Up podcast this week, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Leave off on a high note. There you go.
Yeah, that's it. Like, Nick, where can we find Ed, your brother? Can we find him anywhere?
Can't find him anywhere. He's nowhere. He's nowhere and everywhere.
I'll come back around in a couple of years. So.
Well, he was talking about if you wanted people to know where you were on Instagram, but you're probably better off remaining incognito.
Yeah, I'm not that interesting anymore. Back in the day, I had some cool stuff going on my Instagram account, but it's all pictures of little kids now and stuff. Nobody cares.
Hey, his own little kids, you fucking perverts.
Oh yeah.
I got nothing but little kids on my Instagram.
I'm glad you clarified that, though.
Oh shit. That's yeah, but yeah, you can find us. Right? What? What'd you say?
Yeah, his kids.
How can we teach children to learn how to read?
You can find us on the Mix It Up Pod on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube under the Big Blue Offensive and Mix It Up.
That's
and
right.
Find us, pass us along. You know, if we get one more follower a day, when we're 80, we'll have like 180 followers. So let's just keep it going. You know what I'm saying?
Keep it going. We want those followers. Thousands of followers. We want Denmark to listen. Yo, Denmark, where you at? Like, listen,
for real.
Mix it up, man. We need another state or country, or whatever city. What's Denmark? What kind of place is that?
A province.
A city in America somewhere.
Yeah, it's a city in America, next to Yonkers. But with that, peace. Hey everyone, if you liked that episode of the Mix It Up Pod, guess what? We got more pod coming. The debut of the After Pod will be coming out after each episode every week. So that's just more of us talking. So like, subscribe, and smash that button.